But I want to point out an alarming step. It's dumping glass water, and that is to do with illicit dumping. And as you can see here, it's point 8 of this report to page 292. It's been 50 reports that we've had to continue to, if we continue this, that's going to be up around 200 at the end of the year, which is significantly higher than the previous 2 years. So I'm told that this occurs at Penfold Road, Bulls Road, Range Road, Hokiwai Road, and Poplar Reserve. They're the main offending spots. So not great. There's quite a significant cost of care.
Thanks for sharing those roads, and some of them are really concerning given how close they are to waterways in those areas as well. Go Councillor Johns and Councillor Gilman.
Bishop, Jim, the abandoned vehicles, seems incredible number of vehicles that are being picked up. Who pays for the removal?
Through Your Worship, if we can establish who put it there, they will be, but 9 times out of 10, we do. Right.
97 is a lot of vehicles.
Through Your Worship, it depends on where it's located. Sometimes it's down a bank or something like that. It's around about $300 per vehicle.
Thank you. On the Saddle Road, those cars that go over the bank there from time to time, that safe road that Waka Kotahi think it might be. Who is paying for the collection of those, us or NZTA?
Through Your Worship, it's the NZTA. They're responsible for all state highways.
Particular road. Councillor Gilmore.
Thanks very much, Your Worship. Yeah, illicit dumping is kind of our favourite topic we talk about. Just on that, I mean, the number jumped out at me as well, and I think at our last meeting we were talking about the number of prosecutions or how often are we prosecuting. Out of curiosity, do you have any more insight over the last quarter of how effective we've been in catching some of the people that are doing it? And I also wonder if that could be something that would be easy to report to us. It's certainly something that I hear out in the community a lot of, what are we doing about these things? Because they come at an extreme cost to the ratepayers. And I'm keen to figure out how can we try and deter it.
Through Your Worship, so we don't normally prosecute for litter offences unless it's something substantial. And by something substantial, I mean, we had a case in Gisborne a few years back where a company was dumping used television sets into a river. So we prosecuted that person. But normally, what we do is we go through the rubbish, we try and establish who's put it there with a name or something like that. If we do get that, then we will issue an infringement. The infringements go up to $400. They graduated with direct reflection of our litter infringement policy that our council has. And so it's depending on what it is and the toxicity of the rubbish that's dumped. It could be a $100 fine up to $400. If there's a significant amount we prosecute, it costs roughly about $10,000 to prosecute. But it does have a up to, I think it's $300,000 for the body corporate if they're the ones that have dumped it.
Oh, yeah, Your Worship. Thanks, Jim. Perhaps, prosecution maybe is not what I'm looking for, more how many infringement notices are we issuing and I guess how many are paying them. But what I'm keen for us to do is to have some kind of information that we can strongly be sharing with the community saying, if you're going to dump it, we are going to do whatever we can to try and catch you and you're going to end up paying for it. So without that information, it makes it harder. If we can have that there, perhaps we can get the media to pick that up, get the story out there that we actually will be doing something about it.
Yeah, we certainly will do something about it if we can find out who it is. I can tell you that last year we had 7 infringements issued for litter, which isn't a lot, but often there's no defining name or anything in the rubbish, so we've got to go through it very carefully. It's a stinky job and it's a dangerous job. So, but when we get a name, you definitely issue an infringement. So, but we can easily share those stats as we go along. Those who don't pay, the infringement is forwarded to court and it's followed up by the bailiff. So eventually they have to pay. Action.
For you, Mayor Tracy. Jim, some time ago we discussed cameras. Have you got any cameras up on, particularly on these 5 roads you just mentioned?
Through your worship, yes, we have. I just don't want to say where they are.
And perhaps even if we look to do some comms or spread the words around the community boards and community committees around those hotspots, and just if there is any, people seeing vehicles there regularly, something out of character, just to make a note of it and so that they know, because I know Halls Road is just it's a disgrace. Yeah. Thank you. Can I just ask what the district planning, the resource consents that are coming through, how are they, are they aligning or how do they look with the district, with the growth strategy? Are you seeing anything there yet? I know they're small numbers.
Predominantly, we're processing rural subdivisions. Yeah, so that does flag a bit of concern with me, because that window of opportunity is closing down with that highly productive land and our, coming proposed district plan review. So, yeah, the numbers are probably, especially if you look at the residential statistics for subdivision, they are lower in the urban environments, and that's a reflection of the costs associated with development at the moment and probably lending, and I guess that will change with time, hopefully, but predominantly rural subdivision.
The questions, we've got a recommendation on page 287, moved by Councillor Wallen. Please say aye. Again, carried. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Okay, moving into requests for information under the Local Government Official Information Act, item 10.9 on page 299.
Information for the last month is presented to your information. One thing that you probably note from the stats is the total number of information requests we've received this year so far is only 4 short of what we received for the entire calendar year last year. So we're trending to have a lot more requests this year than we have previously. So it'll be interesting to see how this tracks over time. But we do still have a regular requester that makes multiple requests.
I was pleased to see in that, through you, Mayor Tracy, about a person or an organisation where they capped on that each time they keep doing an inquiry, or can it looks like we've got a bit of teeth there, have we?
Processes, I still need to take each one on its merits, and if in a short period of time they send through like multiple, like in one day I had 4 from one person, so then I'm allowed to put them together, and then if they're going to take more than an hour or so to respond to, then I am permitted to charge. But you can't just go out and blanket charge them. You've got to go through a process of consulting with them, trying to get them to narrow down the focus of their request to make it more focused so it takes less time. And there's a bit of work in that, and quite often for this particular requester, when I've gone back to ask them to narrow the focus, I hear nothing back.
Yeah, supplementary, yeah. That's what I'm meaning, yeah. 'Cause a lot of these people are, yeah, it's quite, I don't think they understand the science behind the workload and the work that's created. I don't know. What I'm trying to say here, maybe we can try and get that out to the public, if you're watching out there, how much work this does tie council up. And I believe in fair and democratic questions, but I think we all know what we're saying about the other bits and pieces.
Thanks, Councillor Wallace. Councillor John.
Thanks, Your Worship. I just wanted to express my thanks, Ali, for all of the work in the proactive releases that are going up on the website. I find them, and I know that they take a fair bit of time, I find those incredibly useful and incredibly helpful. And I also note that for you as a tool, are able to just send them a link to one that's already been up there before, which hopefully will save you a bit of time as well. Similar to what Councillor Wallace was saying, though, it is very clear when we can go in and see the email chain how much work goes into resolving all of these. So a very important part of our democracy, but I'm really grateful for the work that you do. So thank you.
Important to note that it's not just my time, it's all the other officers too that I have to like forward them to get responses from, and they're all, you know, heaps of their business as usual is really high, so they're having to like reschedule other works that could be more priority to respond within a time frame. So it puts quite a lot of pressure on a lot of people in the organisation to manage this process.
Thanks, Sally. It is really good stuff, and it is great to be able to go in there and read them, but also be able to refer other people to them if you know that's already been answered. So, yeah, thank you. There's a recommendation on page 299, moved by Councillor Gilmore, seconded by Councillor Johns. All those in favour, please say aye. Right, just moving into portfolio reports. Does anyone have anything to report? I can give you a little bit of a brief update on the road. I have several Local Government Information Act requests in. NZTA is taking the full 20 days and beyond, so I certainly acknowledge Ali in meeting those. So as they're coming through, we do not know how many submissions have been received to date. That again is an Official Information Act request, so it's something that I've not experienced before in dealing with NZTA, is having to do all of that. So we are working and waiting on those as they come through. So the first one has been received just around the costs, but I note that they also lumped all of those together, so I've got to go back and ask further information, and catching up and doing a bit of work on that this afternoon. Councillor Franklin.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a follow up from the Passenger Transport Committee meeting that I attended last week. I really wanted to follow up on the Horizons announcement at our meeting that NZTA had cut the co-funding to the regional transport plan. So I asked all the questions and found that yes, that is the case. And Anthony Tonnen from Wanganui did put quite a lot of pressure on them to look at ways of being able to fund it anyway. So there is going to be a bit of work done around that. So basically what we've lost is the two routes that we were promised in year 2 of the long-term plan because of lack of funding from NZTA. However, after the meeting, Chair Sam came and saw me on a one-to-one. He knew that I was pretty upset about the fact that, you know, on top of the proposed toll, this was just another blow to us on this side of the ranges. And yet again, we're kind of just left out after sitting through the full conversation on, you know, their mobility programs across the region. And again, we don't play a part in any of that because we don't have a taxi service. So at every corner, we are disabled in that sense. So I think we need that mobility. But he did come to tell me a little bit of good news, and I don't know where this will fit and how you're in the future you can work with this. But in year 3 of the long-term plan at Horizons, there is $80,000 sitting in there tagged for Tararua District. And that has 100% government subsidy on top of it. So that would be $160,000 sitting in year 3. So that might be worth noting for the future, because I certainly won't be here by year 3 of the long-term plan. But that might be worth looking at in terms of who the representative is from the new council when it re-elected next year, to make sure that that gets followed through on. I think we've got 3 more meetings before the elections next year anyway, but I just thought it'd be really quite good to have that noted in the minutes so that everybody's aware that that bit of money is there. So I don't know what it was for, how it was set up, or when it was set up, but it's there. So thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Franklin. Ali will note that in the minutes, and I'll do a little bit of a follow-up around that, so we've got a little bit more detail as well. Councillor Gilmore.
Thanks very much, Your Worship. Just a really quick update for councillors that Mad Hatters Day will be in Woodville this Sunday, Fountain Square, starting at 10 a.m. So everyone is very, very welcome to go. Always a great day in support of the community. So.
Fantastic. Got my hat sorted.
I've just put my flag up again to me, Tracy. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just coming to you, Councillor Franklin.
Thank you. I didn't know either. Thought I just left it there. I just quick update on the Polish reunion this weekend. It is absolutely blown out of all proportion of what was ever imagined. We've had to change venues. We've had to change so much and make a lot of changes to all of our planning as a result. So we've ended up with 400 or 373 coming from the Polish Association, their registrations. We were told 2 weeks ago there'd be 60 on this Friday and 50 on the Saturday, this was, as you can imagine, a massive shock. And it seems that the process by which the registrations were A, sent out, and B, were handled was what caused the delay. I mean, we should have had these numbers a couple of weeks ago. So we had to revisit the catering, and we've had to go to boxed lunches because there's no way the time frame of the opening ceremony would allocate enough time to put 400 people through a buffet. It's physically impossible. So it's been a nightmare. I've lost an awful lot of sleep over this, trying to rearrange it and get everything organised appropriately for the actual ceremony. Parking is a huge issue. I did a bit of a drive around the neighbourhood, and I've managed to get Bettercraft to give us the use of their big compound in the back of their yard, which is directly opposite the Tararua College bus pad. We've got the Post Office Hotel offering us a bit of off-road parking. Otherwise, it's just going to have to be literally around the streets. We have issues with people with minimal mobility who have to be taken right to the front doors. It's just been, honestly, a logistical nightmare. So I have no idea how many extras there are over and above the 373 that aren't counted. That's only 27 away from 400, and I know for a fact there's way more than that. So I'm really concerned about how it's going to flow and how the catering is going to work. We're just praying for fine weather, because I tell you what, they want to move the Saturday concert to the college hall as well, which I haven't spoken to the college about yesterday. I've got a meeting with them tomorrow morning to finalise details, but I don't want to lean on them too much. They've been so obliging. They're giving us this for nothing. It will be all set up because it's senior prize giving tomorrow night. The seniors will be finished school, so they'll only be the juniors at school. So there are some good things in its favour, but there's an awful lot of pretty huge mobility difficulties involved with this whole process. So very grateful to Councillor Scott, who said he will come through and help, and to Councillor Steve for agreeing to do the sound for us, which has been a huge help. So yeah, just wish us luck, please. It's I just can't wait for a good night's sleep. Thanks.
Franklin, we've certainly felt that we know, and I did acknowledge earlier during Explore Parking and Tour, the heavy workload that you've had with the Polish reunion and the significant amount of work that you have put into that. So I do hope that you are well for that, to enjoy it. and look, it is a very, very special occasion, and I know I was even pressing to be able to invite councillors along to that. None of us will eat if we go to make it. Thank you. Right, if I could, if no
Yeah,
one's got.
sorry, I had my silent on, that's right. I just wanted to say thanks for that, Mayor Tracy. And I just wanted to add too, very briefly, that I had a very interesting conversation with Explore Pahiatua Chair Ali Romanos yesterday. Anyone who knows Ali will know that these sort of compliments don't come, you know, as a matter of course, as some people are very complimentary all the time. He wanted to tell me how impressed he is with what he's seen of Tararua District Council since he's been in the role. So I thought that was just such a nice compliment for this council. So I wanted to pass it on. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Councillor Ali, because I know where you're coming from. That is a very big compliment. It's right through because it's a business owner. So thank you. Means a lot. Right, councillors, if I could just cover off Armistice Day. So Armistice Day, we also have our deliberations for the postponement policy in Pahiatoa. Now, so any councillors, if I can just run through who will be attending, because those that are in Dennyburg may wish to teams into the deliberations so that you're not putting yourself under pressure, because Armistice is a significant day out of respect, so that we will be in attendance. Do we know if Norsewood's having an event, Councillor Wallace? And they usually do with the school.
Norsewood RSA hasn't contacted me in any way or form, but as you well know, I'm doing the PA system and the bugle at Dannyburg. But I could find out, but I think, yeah, I honestly cannot answer that.
Thank you. I might go through and between you and myself, we'll contact Norsewood just to find out. So in Dennyburg, you're on the bugle. Councillor Pettigrew, are you able to lay a wreath there?
Attending, and then I'll be online.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to lay that wreath with Councillor Pettigrew, Councillor Chase? Now I've got a request in for Pahiatoa. Obviously, I'll be in Pahiatoa with the deliberations. So, Councillor Franklin, you happy if you and I lay that wreath in Pahiatoa?
Yes, absolutely. Nigel actually contacted me a week ago about whether or not I would want to be involved. So I said absolutely. So that, yeah, I'll be there.
Okay. Thank you. I did ask Nigel if he can, liaise that through because it's getting a little bit mixed. In Ikirahona, Councillor Long, are you happy to, from Pahiatoa, you should be able to travel to Ikirahona in time there? Thank you. Councillor Long and Ikirahona, Councillors Johns and Gilmore, you happy to be in Woodville?
Yep.
Okay, and that just leaves Norsewood, but that'll cover us. Okay.
How long will that deliberations meeting last?
So I would say from 9 till 10 is what we need it to be. We don't have a lot.
Hopefully, like the agenda's on your Victon Can and in front of you.
That's just Norsewood to sort. Thank you, councillors. It's underway. Okay. Right. The other item that I just wanted to quickly acknowledge and discuss, because the Chief Executive's got some communications going out on this today for the public, and that is the fact that this will be our last council meeting in the chambers here. This will remain the emergency management room. But as you know, councillors, Tararua District Council's got 42 community buildings. That's a lot to maintain, including the Dennyburg Town Hall. So as part of those conversations with the chief executive and what we could do smarter and more cost effectively, the council's lease was up on the Tararua Business Hub in Denmark Street. So we are no longer going to be requiring that building on Denmark Street. We will have staff come into this room here, and the Tararua District Council will use the Dennyburg Town Hall chambers as their council meeting place. So in the meantime, for the November and December meetings, we will see chambers. Some communications go out this afternoon, and yeah, that will certainly save council some money. Obviously, there's some initial setup costs, but but also just as wonderful to see the Pahiatua Town Hall used and people understanding what the facilities are in that place as well. So looking forward to that. But I know this room's always been difficult with no light, and we've had some challenges with the sound. So we look forward to some of those systems really working for us when we move in the new year. So we'll get those communications out, and I'm sure people will be very keen to see some of those cost savings coming through. Chief Executive will continue to work through some of that. Underway. If there's nothing further, Councillor Wallace.
Just one quick thing on the portfolio reports. It's not my part of it, but just I thought I'd mention, Erin might be involved. On Saturday, we've got 15 odd very experienced marching teams involved at the sports stadium. These are young women from all over New Zealand participating in our beautiful district. So yeah, I just thought I'm involved with that, but Erin does a fantastic job down there.
It's not me this year, but it has been in the past.
Yeah, I'll be taking the salute there and joining the Ruahine Ramblers. But it's the second big marching, I guess, display that we've had within the district. The Pahiatua Stadium, actually the Whoops a Daisies marching team utilise that stadium and have many groups there for display marching as well. So it's something that's very unique to New Zealand, but I think the Ruahine Ramblers really put it on the I guess on the stage for our district, because they march in our Christmas parades and have such a big part in some of our civic functions. So really look forward to being there on Saturday. It's an incredibly busy weekend with the Polish reunion, with the marching, with Polish reunions over the 2 days, and then straight into Mad Hatters Day. So we're certainly going to have an incredible number of visitors to the district, and that's a lot of volunteer hours that have gone into making those things happen. So really grateful for that, because there's just no way. You've heard from Councillor Franklin the number of sleepless nights you may have had in that organisation. So, and I'm sure that the Mad Hatters Day, because that is, I think I can't remember what year we're up to with that. May even be 5 years on that, and that's a lot of visitors for a town to absorb in and cater for, care for, and look after, and then safely transport home. They are big days, so it's going to be a great weekend. Let's hope the weather is very good for us as well. And of course, on Sunday we've also got a small Diwali celebration as well. Great, thank you, Councillor Wallace, and we'll see you there. That concludes this part of the meeting, and we will then go into public excluded. Thank you, Councillor.
Am I okay here? I'm on my own.
On your own.
Oh, there's nobody here with me. Is that okay if I stay on?
No.
Okay,
I'll
no,
just-
that's right.
I'll just take a resolution to move into public excluded.
Yep.
So moved by councillor Wallace, seconded by councillor Sutherland. Thank you, councillor Franklin.
No worries. Thank you.
Stay well.